Alrighty, you're all welcome to another time here at the book club. So glad to be here. I'll have King's daughter join me. You're welcome. Thanks for making it out here. It's our book club. I get to do this every Sunday afternoon, except when I can't at 2 p.m. West African time. So, we get to read through a book, learn from the book, and we've been on our sixth book in the series. We've been doing this since July, first Sunday in July of last year. And we're yet just in chapter 7 of the book. It's The Good Life. It's a book that was released in January of last year. And it's a compilation of a study of human development. Harvard School, they've been doing a study on human adult development for the last more than 85 years. So they've had different generations of the study, and it's a real life study, just looking at adults as they develop and trying to find out what makes for the right adult development, in terms of what makes it that someone can live long and live well. Wellness mean in health, physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, and what they found out from the study is that what makes for living a good life, a quality life, is relationships. Is having the right kind of relationships and quality of those relationships. If we have the right relationship and the different facets of our life, and we have them in the right quality, then it makes for us, then it's a good ground foundation for us to have a good life, for us to have a life that we're fulfilled living, for us to be able to live to the highest expression of all that we're made, created to be. It helps us to walk our walk. If we're going to walk our walk, then we need to have, the right relationship and have quality of those good quality of those relationships. It makes a whole lot of difference, for us to enjoy life, enjoy life, you know. That's good. That's what I love to do. I love to enjoy life. Everyone that knows me knows I love to enjoy life. Wherever I am, I carry my weather with me. I am a jolly fellow, you know. But in all of that, I'm still an introvert. But when I feel confident, comfortable in a place, you sure would know that I have a free spirit. I love enjoying life. I love life. I love living life to the fullest, within the limits, of my moral compass. So anyways, we're gonna go in here and do this is gonna be the fifth take on chapter 7. And we'll probably still have at least two more takes on chapter 7 before we're done with chapter 7. So today we're going to be focusing on emotional coping styles. That's what we're really going to be diving into, talking about different emotional coping styles. Secure, insecure, and if you're insecure, how to come from insecure to secure, because really the right emotional coping style that makes for a quality life is one that is secure, not the one that is insecure. We have insecure due to damage of life, but if we stay with the insecure, we're gonna miss life. We're not going to have the right quality in our relationships. Anyways, like I always do, I'm going to bring up my slide here. We're going to run through today's read. All righty. So I have my slide here. And pretty much, again, it's a book, The Good Life, which we have here, The Good Life. Great book. I enjoy it, 10 chapters in all. So after chapter 7 here, we still have 3 more chapters. Like I say all the time, I'm not in a hurry. If we have to read the remaining chapters for the rest of this year, I'm all for it, right? I just want to absorb it. It's not as much as checking the box that we've read the book. It's what has it done to us? How has it changed our life? That's more important to me, than saying I've read the book. It's what have I taken from it? What have I soaked from it? And in what way has my life changed for the better? After having read the book, I'll tell you that my life has changed a lot. just since July last year, reading what we've done so far. I have changed. I've learned a lot. I can just hope that every other person that comes to join with us, is also learning something, you're taking something away, feel free, any of my channels, feel free to challenge anything I say. Feel free to ask questions because it's not just a check the box time. It's the opportunity to learn, and take something away that we're trying to do here. So I'm gonna go on here. I'm away from home, so I don't have my normal stand for my phone for the Instagram live. So I'm managing with my laptop. So I'm gonna have to improv. I'm improvising here. My stand is not here. Anyways, that's the book again, and it's written by the two guys, Robert Waldinger and Marc Schulz. They used to be leads there at the Harvard School, that department for the adult development. And, again, it's a compilation of the results of the study, they've had, so again, it's our fifth take in the chapter. And what we've run through this chapter with is this quote by Madeleine L'Engle, and it says, when we were children, we used to think that when we grow up, we would no longer be vulnerable. We'll no longer be vulnerable. I like to give that example of my last daughter. Yeah, she came into puberty. She expects that I knock the door before I enter a room. I was like, all right, I'm not grown up. You can't just be barging into my room anyhow. You gotta knock. Daddy, you gotta knock. I, I would expect that when she comes to my room, she would knock also. No, 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 no. She owns my room. I don't own her room, and that's just that place coming from a child to puberty to adulthood. And they feel that, all right, now you gotta respect my space, But really, when you then grow into the fullness, of adulthood, you find that uh, vulnerability is a part of life. You need people in your space. Yes, there are boundary positions, but you don't take that too far, right? You can't leave life alone. Life was not meant to be lived alone. Life was meant to be lived with other people. You're not going to enjoy life alone. You need other people in your life to get the fullness of what life entails. I love to say this, that the essence of every organism, every human being is not found inside the human being, is found outside of the human being, right? The essence of every organism, the essence of every human being is found outside of that human being, not within the human being. Everything that takes place on the inside of us is for the intent of our engagement with other people. If all we do on the inside here, we don't engage with other people, then it's useless. I love to tie it again with Stephen Covey's book. Stephen Covey wrote that book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And his first 3 habits, he puts that, it's the war, winning the war within, winning the war within. The next 3 habits is winning the war without. And it's rightly arranged, because you cannot win the war without until you have won the war within. Until you have won everything that takes place on the inside of you, you cannot effectively, efficiently, and rightly engage with people, right? Your engagement with people is a function of your engagement with yourself. The peace you would have with other people, your ability to rightly relate with other people, is dependent on your ability to relate with your own self, right? So charity begins at home. Relationship begins at home. Winning the war of life begins at home. Until you have made friends with yourself, you can't make friends with other people. I was just sharing with my friend, Osa, I must have been last Sunday, out exercising in the morning, and we just spend some time, just sharing like we normally do each time we meet, we're just talking about people in need all around, and I'm just emphasizing the fact that we should not play God in people's life. The first person you need to take care of yourself, not other people, yourself, right? God created you to take first care of yourself, first of all, before you can take care of other people. There's a reason why the church started in Jerusalem, not in Samaria, nor in the outermost part of the world. The church started in Jerusalem before it went to Samaria, before it went to the outermost part of the world. You got to take care of yourself. If you're not well, you cannot take care of someone else. There's this popular thing going in on social media about Kumuyi saying that maybe don't give money to the church, give money to poor people. I'm sure they are quoting him wrongly because that's stupid, right? That's stupid. You got to take care, first of all, of yourself, your church, your gathering, right? The poor you always have with you. People will always have problem in your life. Doesn't mean you don't neglect. So you're not going to pay the bill of the church because you have poor people. So you're going to go to church and there's no light. You're not going to be able to gather. You're not going to pay the pastor. You're not going to pay your bills. The church is going to be in tatters just because you say there are poor people around. Yes, that's a place to take care of poor people. That's a place to take care of the church. None should be neglected. Life is a balance. It's not about weighing on one side or the other. We live life in balance. That's the problem with people. In the immaturity of their mind, they're always focused on one side or the other. Life is in a balance. The way to live a good life is to live in that balance, not being over to one side or the other. Balance. And you need to be proactive and intentional, right? You need proactive and intentional. You should have a budget with which you spend your money, right? So if you have a budget before now, then that budget should be taking care of everything in your life, including the poor, needy around you. Anyway, that's not the reason why we're having this topic. That's just by the side. Let's go on in this. But the key thing is that we cannot live life alone. We need other people in our life. Like relationship is life's bottom line. We cannot live life fending off other people. The way to live a good life, we have to allow people into our space. However, in allowing them into their space, like I say all the time, there are still boundary conditions that you need to set. You need to have healthy and functional boundaries in your life. As much as you allow people in, it's in a controlled measure, not an uncontrolled measure. You are not God. Every one of us has limits, what we can take and what we cannot take. As much as you allow people into your space, it's not a open for all. It's still with laws, guidelines, instructions, boundary conditions, right? They are the people you allow, the people you don't allow. Even the people you allow, they have limits. There's a limit. Because not everybody likes you. Not everybody loves you. There are some people that want to hurt you, right? So you're not just going to be stupid and just open your innermost court to just everybody, right? They are the people that are meant to stay in the outer court. They're just the people associates. Hi. Yeah, the people in the inner court. And then the people that you allow into the most holy place, the holy of all, holiest of all in your life. They better not be many, right? Inner court, maybe more. Outer court, Bugbero. The whole world can stay in the outer court if they want, but you need to guide your life, Don't be a fool, you need to protect yourself, because there are not too many people that like you, not too many people that love you. Yet you need to love everyone. Love them from afar. It's okay to love them from afar. Only bring close to you the people that you can trust, Yes, you learn that by experience, that, yeah, vulnerable, but vulnerable with sense, right? So, some of us, we grew up, as much as we say that we need people in our life, and that's what we're created, right? We want to associate with people. So the book, Robert Waldinger, Marc, right, says some of us may cling to others during times of stress. You know, we cling to others because we're looking for help. I've been through depression, like I say all the time. And during those times, you're looking for help. You're looking for someone that would have a word for you, someone that could just say something, pray for you, and everything will just be all right. Those were times, as much as painful as it was good that I went through it because it helped me see the end of myself. It helped me understand people better, you know. And during that time, at the end of yourself, I mean, you're looking for someone that you can just put your hand on that will support you. You're looking for someone that could just say a word that will make a difference for you. You're looking for someone that will just pray. I mean, God will hear that person praying, you know, and probably, and it's good. That's what we're looking for. That's what makes life, but in depression, something has probably gone wrong, and you're trying to fix it. And your heart is looking for that, and the book says some of us may cling to others during times of stress, yet have difficulty finding comfort with sick. Sometimes we're looking for that and we might have find difficulty, finding it, while others may avoid closeness because we fear deep down that if we become a burden to others, we will drive them away, and that comes from what we're used to. Sometimes we're looking for it, we don't get it because we're probably looking for it from the wrong people, or and they might not necessarily be the wrong people in terms of their character, just that they're not able to meet us. They're not at that place where they have the right word, for us. Uh, and sometimes, and I remember a time in my life, that was my final year in school. I couldn't sleep. I shared that some weeks ago. And I couldn't sleep because of some things going on in my life, emotional things. And I've hardened myself enough that I wasn't sleeping. And it was my final exam to write. And after an incident, I did go speak to someone who is supposed to be the head of the uh, man in my fellowship back in school. And it wasn't as if he did anything extra. It was just that it was someone to talk to, it's just someone I could speak to rather than myself. So that time I spent speaking to him, and he shared a short word of prayer with me, made a difference. Sometimes it's just someone to talk to, and that's what we do as counselors, is just listen to people. I do a lot of that. I've been in the counseling for years, decades now, and sometimes it's not because I have the right word, but sometimes it's just being there for someone to speak to, for someone to bounce an idea off of, My goddaughter out in Botswana gets to do that. It's not everything she has to discuss. I have the answer for, but at least she finds someone she can speak with, someone she can trust, with trust, not someone that's going to hold something against her, and we can do that for other people. We can do that for people in our life, and that might just be all they need that to solve their problem, and move them to the next level of their life. But when we do that, in terms of trying to find comfort, there are barriers, we'll talk more about that, but the book goes on and says how we may not be convinced that we're fully lovable, and yet we still need connection. Sometimes, in trying to find connection with other people, we have limitations, from the people's life or our own life. And these are things that have come along with us, as part of our brokenness as we grew. We have what we call emotion. Well, we call emotional attachment or emotional coping styles, which were built as a result of growing up. You know, And that results into a fear of intimacy, or it could also be a fear of relationship or fear of commitment, So fear of intimacy or social interaction is an often subconscious fear of closeness that frequently affects people's personal relationship. I wrote a series on the fear of commitment. You find it on my blog site, Facebook also. So I was talking about the enemies of marriage years ago, but as much as we need to be vulnerable to have the right relationships in our life, our passage of life has probably done us bad. When we all come into this life, we're coming dependent and we're looking for attachment. We're looking for something to, just like I said when I was in depression, we're looking for something to touch, some support system. We're very dependent. We're very naked when we come into this world, and God provides for us parents to give us that initial support, but not our parents are not necessarily perfect, or authority figures in our life are not necessarily perfect. And to the extent of their damage, in raising us, we then develop either secure attachment or insecure attachment. The to the extent to which they affirmed our person, we learn how to relate with other people, which could be a fear of intimacy, um, or a fear of social interaction, or not. So when people fear intimacy, it's because they've tried it at that early time when they were naked and they did not get the right result or the right response in their life. So they've then developed a way to cope with such disappointments. They've learned the wrong they've seen the wrong response when they were naked, and they thought as prepare for it for every other time in their life thereafter. And that's what some of it, that's a childhood. For some people it happens when they're much older, but as a result of an incident in people's life, people tend to then have a fear of intimacy, or fear of social interaction, or fear of commitment, or fear of relationship, and that affects the way they relate with everybody. you know the fear of intimacy or social interaction, is a natural thing. It's a protective tendency. It's a part of our humanness, frailty, brokenness, and limitedness. It is one that finds its place and rests in our lower nature, in our brokenness, is where this fear resides. Uh, Ellen Bolton would say, to be good at love means that we have the capacity to reveal our hurt, our desire, our tenderness. It just means that we be naked. Just like I said, when we first come into this world, we come in naked, you know, but the response we get, to our nakedness can mar us for life. It can mar our expectation from other people. We were once naked, and if we're then accepted in our nakedness and affirmed, then we develop a secure coping style to intimacy, to vulnerability, to relationship. But if we were then not accepted in our nakedness, we did not get that which we yearn for, we did not get the support that we yearn for at that time of our weakness, we develop what we call an insecure, coping style to intimacy, to vulnerability. We as it were, develop an unstable, foundation to relationship. And they might go with us for the rest of our life unless we catch it, and address it. People have different problems with relationship because of events in their life when they were naked, when they were at their weakest point. The support or lack thereof scarred their life, right? And that's the reason why they do what they do, you know, in their relationship with other people. It's not necessarily natural. It's if it's not secure, then it's not natural, it's not right. We need to catch it, correct it if we're going to make the best, in our relationships and life, and thus have a good life, right? So Ellen Bolton goes on and says, um, you know, it says relationship require us to put ourselves in a very weak position. When I'm relating with people, I'm bearing my heart. I'm letting my nerves be out there. If I don't know you, you can't step on my nerves. If I don't seek to relate with you, you can hurt me. The people that can hurt you are the people you seek to relate with, because then your heart is bare, your nerves are bare. They can step on it or they can treasure it, right? You can't relate unless you're vulnerable. But being vulnerable has that risk that you're putting your heart or giving your heart to someone that can hurt it, right? So but not everybody would do that. If they've had a bad experience before, then you're more careful, being naked, and that can limit your relationships, right? Bolton goes and says that uh uh well, as we require that, we expect that also to be from the person we're trying to relate with, right? So, but not everybody is able to do that. Not everybody is able to come to a relationship naked, and then that limits the relationship. And to the extent to which someone is vulnerable in a relationship is the extent to which you can be intimate with that person. You cannot be intimate with someone that is not naked, right? Because don't forget, intimacy is to make known. We shared that last week. Intimacy is to make known, meaning that you are in a position where you can be loved, you can be seen, and you can be heard. And you are also, the other person then also has to be in the same position where that person can be seen, can be heard, and both can be loved, right? It takes two to tango, right? But not everybody is able to come naked, into a relationship because of the way in which they've been scarred, the way they've been broken, the way in which they've been mad, and based on events in their life, and therefore they might be in an insecure, a foundation to relationship or to intimacy, and those are limited, right? John Eldridge, I love, said the reason there are so many struggling women is because there are so many wounded girls. Same thing is true for men. The reason why there are so many struggling men is because there are so many wounded boys, right? So many wounded boys, so many wounded girls is the reason why we have a lot of struggling men, women, and we have problems in relationship, problems in marriages, because they were wounded as boys, they were wounded as girls, and they've not sought healing. And wounded boys, girls who don't have healing, probably sick, consciously, unconsciously, they are hurting other people because they've not been healed from their own wounds, right? So, Marc Schulz and Robert Waldinger said each of us has a particular way of staying connected to a person that we need, right? And that way might then be mad by our coping style, right? Uh, so pretty much again, it's our coping style could be secure, where we've come up from a place where we've been loved, we've been heard, we've been seen. So we feel complete as a person. So we're then loving other people the same way we've been loved. We've been touched by grace, and therefore we can give grace to other people. But not too many people have the privilege of that, at least not enough to 100%. Most people have come from a place where they've been hurt in one way or the other. They've not been heard, they've not been seen, they've not been loved, and because they've not then seen such grace, they are not able to give it to other people, and when they're not able to give that, then there are two classic ways, which then they become anxious. or exhibit their insecurity. One of it is called they become avoidant. They are in denial they're in denial of their shortcoming, right? And the other one is that they become an anxious insecure, right? They are overbearing, as a result of their insecurity. They're trying to control everything. So and again, like I said, balance is where God is. Balance is where life is. In the avoidance is too little. You're trying to be who you are not. In the anxious, insecure, you're trying to make it happen, you know. But balance is where the secure coping style is, in relationships. And let's talk a bit more about that. Let's start with the avoidance. You know, Avoidance relates to and denotes a type of personality or behavior characterized by avoidance of intimacy or social interaction. They're trying to avoid, being naked. They're trying to avoid being seen, being heard, being loved, even though they want it, but they've come from a hurt in life where when they sought it, they didn't get it. So therefore, they are assuming that every other person would be like that, and they don't want to be hurt again, where they are seeking it, but they won't get it. I'm funny enough, I've had such people in my life. Even my wife is probably a bit scarred in that wise. Uh, and it's good to know. It's good to know, and so that then you're then able to relate her right, with such people. Um, I remember one time I went to visit a friend of mine, and funny enough, another friend had been there to visit her, and he had come there to propose to her actually, but the response he got made him pretty bitter, as he was expressing to me how bitter he was, with that person, and it all come from that person not, you know, knowing how it was. There's a there's a way to say no. There's a respectable way to say no. There's a wrong way to say no. There's a right way to say no. Yes, even if you're not going to say yes to a person, there's a way you say it, and that person will respect you for life. There's another way you say it, that person will hate you, detest you for life. That was how that brother felt that day. He felt hurt. However, it was giving back to him. He felt really bitter, you know. But the lady that probably did that is a beautiful, lovely lady. She, she probably was just under the spell of her own insecurity. You know, she was insecure in the avoidance. She was avoiding relationships. She was avoiding bearing her heart. She was running from her own demons, you know, and which had nothing to do with the brother that came to propose. He was just a victim of a scenario. And we'll probably look at more examples here as we go here. Says such people that they engage in behavior that avoid or disengage from specific situations or difficult feelings, so they're running away from, they're running away from, and so let's look at a bit more example of people that are avoidance, their coping styles with intimacy, with vulnerability is to avoid it, so they avoid emotional closeness in relationship. In a relationship, they do everything in such a way not to be close or to emotionally to the other person, uh they give and I have an example in my heart, but I have to be careful, so I don't want to sound like I'm bringing anybody down, but if you have anybody in your life that's always running away from being close or you know, being more intimate, it's because that person's coping style, that person been hurt before, that person has opened his or her heart before, and did not get what he or she was looking for. So therefore, that person is running away from being hurt again. You know, such people suppress or downplay emotions, right? And life has no guarantees. Life has no guarantees. These people are thinking life has guarantee. If you want something, you go for it. If you want something, you go for it. Right? Doing extra effort to keep yourself from being hurt would only keep yourself forever hurt. Right? Life is in a balance. You're not going to get what you want by doing nothing. You have to be intentional. You have to be proactive. You've been hurt before, so are you then going to stop looking for what you want? You've been hurt before. You might be hurt again. So what? If it doesn't kill you, go again. You know, I've lost severally in trying to do business or investing. You know, doesn't stop me from investing. You learn the lesson and do again. You learn the lesson and do it better again. You learn the lesson and do it better again. I have a friend, still not married, and I think it's not being able to address some of these issues in that person's life. I mean, in Christianity, we attribute a lot of things to demons, which are not demons. They're just mere psychology, mere mind game, mere maturity thing. If you're matured enough, you will go beyond that, you know. But due to our ignorance, everything is prayer, everything is demon, everything is casting this or that. They're just simple things that we can do and grow up, and our lives will be better. Our lives will be better than it is. So when someone is suppressing and downplaying emotions, you're not going to get into an intimate relationship. Someone might love you, but you might be driving the person away from you, right? So if you see that in your life, you need to um, don't be at peace with it. Begin to learn how to do otherwise. How to open your heart to be loved. Obviously, again, when I say all of this, I'm saying this in the balance. You still need to keep your functional boundaries, in doing that. It's not as if you're going to open your heart to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. You still have to set your minimum expectations. You have to set boundaries, healthy, functional. What are the minimum things you would accept? What are the minimum standards you go for? But don't shut yourself out to the world. Don't blank yourself out from everybody because you can't live life alone. You need other people in your life. It doesn't have to be everybody, but you need some people in your life. You need some people in your holiest of all. You need some people in your holy place. Every other person can stay in the outer court, right? So when you see people that feel as though their partners are being clingy when they simply want to get emotionally close, then they have issues in their life. It's because they're running away. It's a trust issue. It's like I've been here before and someone has broken my heart. I don't want to be hurt again. I don't want to be hurt again. I don't want to be hurt again. And that just makes me remember the woman, is this I think it's a Zarophinian. Is it Zarephath, the woman at Zarephath? That Elijah, I believe that was Elijah. Elijah was it Elijah? I think it was Elisha was always going in, whenever he goes to pray. And the woman made room for him, to come and sleep each time he goes there to that city. And when Elisha wanted to bless her, what she said was, it was telling her that she will have a son, same time the year after. And she just spoke that man of God, don't deceive me, you know. Just showing a place where she's been hurt before. So she's expected such from God, or some prophet said it and it did not happen. It was a place of a hurt. It was a place of a hurt. It was a place of a no-go. No wonder when the prophet asked, what would you have me do? She said nothing until it was found out she didn't have a child. She had given up in that area of life. Maybe you're there, you're giving up on relationship also, that someone's going to ever love you. Someone's ever going to see you. Someone's ever going to hear you. Someone's ever going to look in your direction. Maybe today's your deliverance day. Maybe today is the day to open your heart again. Maybe today is the day to believe again. Obviously, it's not to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, but there's someone out there for you, someone that wants to love you, someone that wants to see you, someone that wants to hear you, someone that wants to love you. But you have to open your heart to let the person. It's up to you. God's not going to do that for you. Just praying won't do that for you. You got to begin to treasure yourself. You need to know that you are worthy of love. You're worthy of love. You've got something that someone needs. You got to believe in yourself. Stop running away from love. Stop running away from being vulnerable. Stop running away from being intimate, because you're not going to get the best of life as long as you keep running. Right? Such people distrust others. If you don't trust people, sorry, how would they trust you? If you're going to be intimate, you have to trust people. I'm not saying you just be stupid about it. At least take baby steps towards trusting people. Take baby steps. Don't just isolate your life. You're not the only good person. There are people just as good as you, if not better. If you keep not trusting people, other people will not trust you also. It's a give and take in life. If you don't trust people, people will not trust you. Yes, there are a lot of untrustworthy people. Bible says a faithful man who can find. But they are faithful men. Not all men are unfaithful. They are faithful men. And you can find them by taking a risk to trust. I'm not saying take giant steps. Take baby steps. Set your boundaries. But you got to trust. You got to take a step out. Otherwise, you won't find. Such people also withdraw and cope. They withdraw and cope with difficult situations alone. When you're a loner, you're keeping it to yourself. You're going through trouble, you're keeping it to yourself. You don't share it. I remember someone I was chasing after for years, and I see the mood swing. Sometimes I go to visit her and we have an awesome time. Sometimes I go and it's like I'm not there. I'm saying it's like, why did I come? But not she's not speaking. And I grew up a shy person. Once in a while I break out and I talk, but I don't get the response back till I got to a place where I couldn't even talk myself. And no wonder it didn't work, even after chasing after that for 11 years. I loved her, still do, but it didn't work. It takes two to tango. It had nothing to do with God. It had nothing to do with demons. It was just someone that refused to open the heart to love and be loved. If you're going to have a good life, then you have to learn, to invite other people into your space. Invite other people into your space. build yourself enough to be able to handle people in your space. Life is all about driving people away from your space. You're not going to have the best of life alone. Such people rely on themselves for emotional support. I mean, it's okay to rely on yourself for emotional support, but it's not enough. You need other people also. Someone to touch you, someone to hug you. I love you. I love hugging people. Someone to hug you, someone to kiss your forehead, someone to say you're beautiful, someone to say you're handsome, someone to say something good about you. Yes, you do that to yourself, but that's not the complete. The fullness is getting other people to be able to do that for you. They're not going to come if you don't let them in. Such people struggle to share their thoughts and feelings with others, right? Yeah. And that might be your place right now, but you need to grow. You need to grow. You can do better. You can do better. You can do better. Right? We build relationship by sharing with other people, by communicating, by inviting people to see what we see. Because you're not going to feel intimate unless you feel heard. And you are not going to feel heard if you are not speaking. You're not going to be intimate or feel human unless you feel seen. You're not going to be seen unless you make yourself available. You're not going to be loved if you're not there to be loved. Right? They avoid complaining and prefer to sulk. Express yourself, talk. They suppress negative memories. No, no, no. Bring it to the fore and deal with it. If you don't, you're just going to die in silence. It's more for the avoidance. They withdraw or tune out from unpleasant conversations. No, we're going to have that unpleasant conversation. We're going to talk about it, get to some understanding, and drop it. They fear rejection. Therefore, sometimes they probably go overboard, right? No, they have strong sense of independence. That was my friend, right? It's okay to be a man if you're a man. It's okay to be a woman if you're a woman. None is less, none is higher. An avoidant woman probably wants to feel like a man. You lose your power in trying to be a man. You lose your power in trying to be too humble as a man. Just be who you are. Be who you are. And the right people will come to your life. Right? So avoidant people also have feelings of high self-esteem. Right? They feel too big, too high of themselves. But life passes you by. Even if you're high, the other people are also growing. Let your high bless people. Jesus Christ was talking about that he says that you use the unrighteous mammon to make friends for yourself in this life. Yes, if you feel you're high, then bless people. Don't use it to oppress people. Don't use it to then stay away from people. If you're high, then bring people up to your level. Bless people with your whatever high esteem you think you are. Be a blessing. Reach out to people because those people also, you will need them someday. Right? Such people overly focus on their own needs and comfort. The word is overly. It's okay to care about your needs and comfort, but there's also a place to care about other people also. Right? So those are people that avoid relationship. On the other hand, also, like we said, are the people that are anxious, right? It's the opposite of people that avoid relationship. I mean, this one's on the other side, they approach relationship from an anxious position and they don't trust the other person, so they want to control everything. you know. So people with anxious attachment are usually needy. They always they want to, you know, they're needy. They want to get something from the other person because they think that's a way to secure that they are being loved. They are anxious and have a low self-esteem. They feel that they can't be loved for who they are. So they are trying to be what they're not. They want to be close with others, but are afraid that people don't want to be with them. Right? So they then force themselves into other people's space. They internalize what they perceive to be a lack of affection and intimacy as not being worthy of love. And they intensely fear rejection as a result, you know. So unlike the other one that feels that, oh, I'm too big, this one feels I'm too low. The other one avoids. This one evades people's space and wants to control every single thing in that relationship, because they feel a sense of unworthiness in themselves. So some of the characteristics is that they have difficulty in trusting other people, same as the avoidant. They don't take people for their words. They want to ensure this. Oh, have you done that? They want to control every single part of the relationship, and that could be that could be overbearing on people. Obviously, they have a low self-worth, self-esteem of themselves. They don't trust that they can be loved for who they are. So they want to they want to be what they are not, as it were. You know, Maybe a bit of that it was my own damage. My own damage has nothing to do with avoidance. Maybe anxious, insecure might be a bit of my damage as I was growing up, as I try to please everybody. Uh, yeah, but that's a weakness. It says the worries that your partners will abandon you. That's a bit of a weakness. And I can say maybe that's a bit of what could be the coloring in my life, in trying to please people, in trying to, be in the good book, be nice to people. It's okay to be nice, but there's a limit, uh, not do it from a place of feeling unworthy or trying to be concerned about what people will think about you, you know. So it's a craving for closeness and intimacy. I had that. I wanted to be close to people. I wanted to have close friends, and I gave, probably overdid it in some sense. In my secure place, I probably did it in the right, right quantity. Uh, in my insecure place, maybe I went overboard in some things. Uh, as far as the lady I was chasing is concerned, I sure went overboard. But that was then in my stupidity, my immaturity. Uh, but such as people that are anxious, and insecure, there's a craving for closeness, there's a craving for intimacy, unlike the avoidance, they are running away from it. These ones are looking for it, but not looking for it in a balanced form. That's the difference, and they could be overly dependent in relationship, it's requiring frequent reassurance that people care about them. And they could be overly sensitive to their partner's actions and mood, and that's probably a bit of me also. As an empath, I'm sensitive, I read people's face, I read people's mood, and I interpret it, and in an insecure state, that took a lot from me. But in a secure state today, I'm able to better balance that. I don't allow that trouble me too much. It has a tendency to, but then I have to put it where it belongs. I can read people's mood. I can read the energy in the room, and I try to make it the energy that I want. Uh, as I seek for relationship, I seek for closeness, I seek for intimacy. That's who I am. You know, that could be a weakness also, but I then have to make sure that I'm not doing it from an anxious position, but I'm doing it in a stable position, So it's a tendency for me, as much as it's wrong to stay away, it's also wrong to try to get into relationships out of anxiety. Both of them are negatives. They would not give you the good life you're looking for. Fear, anxiety will never give you a good thing. You have to do things out of faith, out of love. That's important if you want to get the good result from it. So these people also are overly sensitive to people's actions and mood, obviously. So me, that's pretty much a summary of it all, talking about coping styles. Just to summarize again, we all have different coping styles when it comes to emotional relationship, comes to intimacy, vulnerability. And this doesn't have to be romantic relationship. It could just be platonic relationship, obviously platonic then leads to romantic for some, but you can't be romantic with everybody, but it's just, yeah, generally on a platonic level, it also works on the romantic level. That where we want to be is to be in a secure coping style where we're not doing things out of fear, anxiety, you know, but we're doing things out of love, out of faith, out of belief. We're doing things from a place where we believe that we're worthy of love. We're worthy to be heard. We're worthy to be seen, right? That's important. You have to believe in yourself. You have to love yourself before other people can love you, right? So you're not then running away from intimacy because you're at home with yourself. They can then be at home with other people in your space. If you're not at home with yourself, you cannot be at home with other people in your space, right? Then you'll be running from intimacy. You'll not be running from people coming to your space, right? Just like the DSTV came to my house yesterday, and I didn't want him to come into our bedroom because we do have a DSTV station in our bedroom, but I couldn't sort it myself, so I had to bring him in. But you see, I could bring him in because my bedroom was okay. You see, even if I needed him and my bedroom was upside down, even though I needed him, I would not have brought him in. But see, because I take care of my room, it was easy for me to bring him in. Take care of yourself. Clean your house. Be intentional about it. Be proactive about it. Don't just start taking care of your room, your heart, your head, your mind, your thoughts, because you are running after a relationship. Do it just because you are you, because you love yourself. Then it becomes easy to bring other people to your space. Don't start being a nice person because you want to marry. Be a nice person for just being a nice person. Then it'll be easy for you to fall in love. It'll be easy for people to find you. Take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. Love yourself. Then you can then come from a secure coping style to be attached to other people, to be intimate with other people, to be vulnerable. If you clean your room, you'll have no problem when people come into your space. You also don't have to rush into other people's space. Take care of your house. Take care of your house. When you take care of your house, people will want to come there. Take care of your house. The stability point is taking care of yourself. Build yourself. Build yourself. You will find the right relationships that you need. Because everybody goes with what feeds them. If your life is such that feeds other people, people would draw, will as it were, will flow into your life. If your life will bless them, they will flow into your life. It's not about you being anxious flowing into other people's life. Have something to share. have something to give, people will come. All right. A closing quote here for today, is from Ayn Rand, and she says, love is the expression of one's values. You gotta have values. If you have values, love is the expression of your values. The greatest reward you can earn for the moral qualities you have achieved in your character and person, that's love. Take care of your house. Take care of yourself. Love is the emotional price paid by one man for the joy he receives from the virtues of another. Take care of yourself. You will find love. You'll be able to love also.